Have you ever noticed how, just when you think someone has completely lost interest, they suddenly come back into your life, sometimes with even more enthusiasm than before? This isn't just a coincidence. There's a complex psychological mechanism at play here, one that dives deep into human behavior, needs, and even insecurities. Some people call this dynamic dark psychology because it taps into certain primal drivers that we don't often talk about, but that affect us all the same. When you give someone space and pull back, you set off a range of reactions in them that often bring them back to you. Before we go further, let's clarify what we mean by dark psychology here. This isn't about manipulation or deception. It's about understanding some of the subtler, often unspoken psychological factors that can influence behavior. By understanding these principles, you can learn how distance affects the way people perceive you and why this space can often reignite someone's interest in ways that even they don't fully understand. In this breakdown, we're going to dive into 7 key psychological reasons that can make a person come back after you've given them distance. We'll look at how the scarcity of your presence makes them realize your worth, why triggering a fear of missing out can draw them back, and how the mysterious allure of the unknown can make you unforgettable. These techniques, while powerful, should be used responsibly, with the understanding that these strategies are ultimately about encouraging healthy, genuine connections. So, let's dive in and explore these 7 reasons in detail. Number 1. The power of absence and perceived value. You've heard it before. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. But what's actually happening here? Why does someone suddenly start appreciating you more the moment you create some distance? The answer lies in the psychological concept of scarcity. Simply put, scarcity is the perception that something is more valuable when it's less accessible. When you're not always around, they can't take you for granted, which means that you and your attention are suddenly seen as more desirable. This phenomenon of scarcity is powerful. Think of it like a rare, limited edition product. When something is difficult to get, people want it even more. When you make yourself less available, you become that limited edition in their mind. Dark psychology taps into this desire for the unattainable, turning you into a person who they feel they now have to earn rather than someone who is readily available. So why does this work so well? First, when you're no longer there at their beck and call, they're forced to reflect on the time they spent with you, often replaying your best moments together. Since they no longer have regular access to you, their mind will typically recall the positives, creating a nostalgic highlight reel of your interactions. Second, this limited access sparks curiosity and intrigue. They start wondering what's keeping you so busy or who else might be capturing your attention. In many cases, this leads to a bit of self-doubt on their end. They might even begin questioning whether they did something wrong to make you withdraw, and this thought alone often drives them to reach out, if only to satisfy their need for reassurance. Now you might be wondering how to use this insight in a practical way. Pulling back doesn't mean completely cutting someone off or playing games. Instead, it's about naturally creating space in the relationship. Rather than always initiating contact, you allow them the chance to reach out. This isn't about ghosting or ignoring someone, but rather letting them see what life is like when you're not always around. When done right, they often realize they genuinely miss having you in their life, and that's when the magic happens. They see the value of your presence because they've had the chance to feel your absence. Number 2. Triggering their fear of missing out, FOMO. Have you ever felt a pang of regret after missing out on a gathering or event? That's the infamous fear of missing out, or FOMO, a powerful force in today's social culture. FOMO taps into the psychological need to feel included and to be part of something special, and it's a major motivator in why people come back when you give them distance. When you're constantly around someone, they start to feel like they know everything that's happening with you. There's no mystery, no newness. But once you pull back, you create an information gap. Suddenly, they're left wondering what's going on in your life, who you're hanging out with, and what you might be experiencing without them. They start to feel that familiar itch, the one that makes them think, "What am I missing?" This FOMO often has them checking up on you, reaching out to reconnect, or finding subtle ways to be part of whatever they imagine you're up to. The dark psychology behind FOMO leverages our need for social connection and a fear of exclusion. People don't like feeling left out, and when you give someone space, they often start imagining scenarios where you're out there having fun, moving on, or living your best life without them. This can create an almost magnetic pull to reconnect. Their mind fills in the gaps, and ironically, the less they know, the more they want to be around to know. So how can you use this in a way that keeps things healthy? Create that gentle distance without oversharing about what you're doing. Don't post every detail of your life online. Instead, give subtle hints that show you're doing fine and thriving. Keep a little mystery alive and let them feel that they don't have full access to you. This approach allows FOMO to do the work naturally. You don't have to say anything outright. They'll come back just to avoid missing out on being part of your life. Number 3, playing on their need for validation. Validation is a fundamental human need. We all want to feel valued, appreciated, and recognized. When you were around, maybe you provided this person with a steady stream of validation, whether it was through compliments, attention, or just the comfort of knowing that someone cared. When you give them distance, however, that source of validation is suddenly gone, and for some, this absence can feel like an emotional vacuum. This need for validation goes deep into our psychology. People are wired to seek out situations and relationships where they feel noticed and appreciated. When you pull back, they're no longer receiving that boost from you. This often leads them to wonder, do they still think about me? Or, did I mean anything to them at all? It's like an itch they can't scratch, and it can compel them to come back just to feel that reassuring sense of being seen and valued again. The dark psychology of validation isn't about feeding someone's ego in a manipulative way. Rather, it's about understanding how much people value that sense of significance. By creating distance, you shift the power dynamic slightly, allowing them to experience life without your affirmation. This gap often makes them realize how much they relied on it. When they come back, it's frequently driven by a desire to reclaim that feeling, to once again be in a place where they feel important to you. To approach this responsibly, let them come to you. Don't rush in to fill the void with reassurance or try to win them back. Instead, give them the space to reach out and show appreciation on their own terms. If they're genuinely interested in reconnecting, they'll do so because they value your presence and the sense of validation that naturally comes with it. This approach allows for a balanced relationship where they actively appreciate you, rather than passively receiving validation. Number 4, the intrigue of mystery and uncertainty. People are naturally drawn to mystery. Think about a movie or book that keeps you guessing, one where you can't predict the ending. That curiosity keeps you hooked, pulling you deeper into the story until you have the answers you crave. When it comes to relationships, the same principle applies. The less someone knows, the more they want to know. By giving someone space, you're adding a layer of mystery that makes you irresistible. When you're always available, they feel they know everything there is to know about you. There's no suspense, no intrigue, and no reason for them to wonder what's on your mind. But when you step back, you introduce a sense of uncertainty. Suddenly, they're left wondering, what are they thinking? Are they missing me? What's happening in their life? This curiosity gap makes them want to reach out, to discover what's changed, and to reconnect with that part of you that now feels just a bit out of reach. The psychology of mystery taps into a powerful cognitive response known as the curiosity gap. This gap is what compels us to seek answers, when we don't have the full picture, whether it's in a suspenseful novel or a person who has stepped back just enough to spark our interest. When you give someone space, you create a curiosity gap around yourself. This is a kind of dark psychology that uses the unknown to captivate their attention, making them think about you, even when they don't fully understand why. So how do you use this effectively? Keep certain things to yourself. When they do reach out, don't immediately reveal everything about what you've been up to. Share just enough to satisfy their initial curiosity, but leave a little mystery for them to wonder about later. This approach keeps their interest alive and makes you more memorable, as you become someone they're always intrigued by, rather than someone they feel they fully understand. Number 5. Reawakening old memories and nostalgia. Distance has a strange way of turning ordinary moments into cherished memories. When you're not in someone's life constantly, they often find themselves reflecting on the past, sometimes revisiting moments they didn't fully appreciate at the time. This sense of nostalgia can be incredibly powerful, bringing back feelings and emotions that may have faded in the routine of everyday interactions. When you pull back, you give them space to remember the good times. They might recall the laughter, the shared experiences, or even the small, seemingly insignificant moments that made your connection unique. Nostalgia can amplify these memories, creating a rosy version of the past where they focus on the positives and feel a renewed appreciation for what you shared. This can be especially compelling if your presence in their life brought a sense of comfort or joy that they now realize they miss. The psychological pull of nostalgia lies in its ability to make people feel connected to something meaningful. It reminds them of what life felt like when you were around and brings back the emotional warmth of those memories. This form of dark psychology uses distance to bring up feelings they may have forgotten, making them miss you without you having to say a single word. Nostalgia can create a strong desire to relive those moments, making them more likely to come back to you to recreate that feeling. If you're looking to bring back someone with whom you've shared special memories, let nostalgia work its magic naturally. Don't bombard them with reminders, but let them experience the memories on their own. A gentle reminder here or there, a song, a shared location, or a subtle reference to a past moment can be effective, but often, distance alone is enough to awaken those memories. Nostalgia, after all, works best when it's genuine and unforced. When they start missing you, it's because they remember how good things felt, and that's a feeling people are often eager to revisit. Number 6. Testing their control and dominance. Humans are naturally drawn to feeling in control. In any relationship dynamic, there's often a subtle balance of influence and dominance, where each person feels they have some level of sway over the other. When you're always available, they might feel a sense of control over the relationship, knowing that you're there whenever they want. But when you create distance, you disrupt this balance, making them feel a loss of control that can stir a powerful urge to reassert their influence over the connection. This loss of control can be unsettling. Suddenly, they're not as certain of your feelings, your availability, or even your commitment. This ambiguity can lead them to wonder, have I lost my hold on them? Or are they moving on without me? This psychological effect taps into their need for stability and control in the relationship, compelling them to come back just to reestablish the status quo. By stepping back, you allow them to experience the discomfort of not knowing where they stand with you, and often they'll return to seek that reassurance and regain a sense of equilibrium. The dark psychology here lies in understanding the human desire for influence and the discomfort that arises when it's taken away. When you give someone distance, you're subtly challenging their perceived control, forcing them to realize that they don't have the upper hand they thought they did. This can make them work harder to re-engage with you, shifting the power dynamic and making the relationship feel more balanced. To apply this strategy responsibly, Avoid any manipulation or attempts to play mind games.